Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the reframe process, which, as we've discussed, is an empowering process designed specifically to challenge your assumptions that maybe shift your perspectives. Ideally, what we want to do here is we want to unlock really your full potential. So this is what's beyond your current beliefs and assumptions. So the first thing to understand is that your thoughts and feelings are a unique lens through which you perceive the world, but they don't always reflect the objective reality. In other words, this is how you see the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the world is that way. So your thoughts and your feelings that you bring to the table are not necessarily a reflection of what's really going on. And the reason for this is because you have filters. Your thoughts and your feelings are filtered by your assumptions, by your beliefs, which include your past experiences, all of which shape your interpretations of events and ultimately influence your emotional responses. So the question is, what's really true here? Well, it's essential to recognize that your thoughts and feelings are not a concrete representation of the truth. They're just your thoughts and your feelings that you have wrapped up in this particular situation or with this particular person. So really what we're looking at here is we're looking at the difference between the objective and the subjective, right? And so thoughts and feelings are really subjective constructs that are colored by our biases and our misconceptions, our beliefs, our feelings, all our past experiences we bring to the table, and they all really are subjective. So therefore we must question our assumptions, because again we're making an assumption that it is the way we think it is or the way we feel it is. Now, when you understand this concept, you gain the power, okay, which is to question and challenge your assumptions, to seek factual information rather than feeling or thought information. So what you want is you want to get functional here, not emotional, as my wife would say. You know, she's in the packaging design business. And the front of a pack that goes on the shelf is the emotional, which gets you to stop and take a look. But at the back of the pack is all the functions. Really, it's got all the nutritional data and all the facts and features of the actual whatever's inside the pack. And so what this process is designed to do is designed to have you seek out the factual information and get a different perspective. In other words, rather than running off on your thoughts and your feelings and your assumptions, you're actually moving into just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. In other words, what's going on here? What's real, not what's going on and what I think might be going on or I feel is going on. And this is really very self-empowering, because reframing empowers you to transcend the limitations of your thoughts and beliefs and therefore make more informed decisions and navigate the complexities of life with much greater clarity and objectivity. So in summary then, what we're saying is thoughts and feelings don't always accurately reflect reality. Okay, and I'll give you an example of this in a minute. They are subjective and they're based on our assumptions and our interpretations rather than being objective representations of our external world. Okay, so thoughts refer to our ideas, our beliefs, our mental processes, our biases, and they're influenced by our past experiences, beliefs, values, and all the information that we've acquired up until now. They shape our perception of reality and how we interpret the events and situations around us. These are our thoughts. And our feelings are the emotions and sensations that we experience in response to certain stimuli. So we get triggered, and therefore we have an emotional response to that. And these emotional or feeling responses range from happiness and excitement to sadness, anger, fear, frustration, jealousy. But feelings are subjective, and they can be influenced by various factors such as our personal upbringing, our history, our traumas, and also our current circumstances. So, if your job's in jeopardy, that's going to change how you show up to a meeting. So, we know that thoughts and feelings aren't necessarily accurate reflections of objective reality. They're just distorted by our biases, our cognitive processes, and assumptions that really we're not necessarily aware of. So as an example, you may have preconceived notions or expectations about a particular situation, and that can influence how you perceive it and how you feel about it. So, you get an email from your boss, or you get a call from your boss to say, I want to see you in my office. That creates a certain perception based on your past experiences. If you've had previous bad experiences with your boss, you're going to suddenly get all stressed out. But if in the past you've had good experiences, and it's normally, once your advice on something, you don't stress out about it. In fact, you might even be excited to go and have a chat. In other words, our thoughts and our feelings are influenced by cognitive distortions, which are patterns of thinking, and they typically lead to irrational or inaccurate conclusions. And again, an example of cognitive distortions include all or nothing thinking. Okay, it's always this way. They never listen to me. Overgeneralization. Okay, women always behave this way. Men always behave that way. Smokers are blah blah. Right? We jump to conclusions and emotional reasoning. So we need to be mindful that our thoughts and feelings may not always provide us with an accurate representation of reality. They are subjective and can be influenced by various factors that may distort your perception. And being aware of this can help us to critically examine our thoughts and our feelings, challenge our assumptions, and strive for a more balanced and objective understanding of the world that's around us. So, as an example, take a look at this painting. Every person who views this painting will have a slightly different interpretation and emotional response to it. You go to an art gallery, you stand there and staring at the painting, and you speak to the person next to you, and they see it very differently to the way you see it. So just as different viewers may have a diverse opinion or emotional reaction to the painting, so individuals can have different thoughts and feelings about the very same situation in real life. So, are you showing up looking at things objectively? Because while everyone is looking at the same painting, in other words, that's the reality, is the painting, their thoughts and their feelings and their interpretations and emotional responses will typically differ quite variedly. Our thoughts and feelings are subjective. They're subjective. They're not objective. And as a result can be influenced by our personal assumptions, our biases, and our experiences, which typically might not always line up with objective reality. So the reframe process is a powerful process because it empowers you, and it's designed to help you challenge your assumptions, shift your perspectives, and basically unlock your full potential. So the reframe process is a structured framework enabling you to break free from limiting assumptions and see the situation from a fresh perspective. So by actively engaging in this process, you can navigate the challenges that are in front of you with clarity and with much better informed decisions, and thereby embrace personal growth. So the process is designed to empower you to unlock new insights, foster innovation, and embrace positive change. So, as an example, if you show up to a meeting and you have certain preconceived notions of the person that's going to be at the meeting, of what they're going to think about you and what they're going to think about your work, and you're stressed about it because for whatever reason the last time you spoke they were very critical, and now you show up with those sorts of thoughts and feelings and emotions, how is that going to translate in the meeting? As opposed to if you show up to the meeting and you're neutral and you're facing the facts, whatever's in front of you, okay, you're going to be a very different person in that discussion. So here's a proverb that I made up, right? It says, reframe your view, seek facts anew. Embrace fresh insights and navigate true. So you're going to reframe your view of how you see things. So you're going to see things differently. You're going to look at the facts. And then as a result, you're going to get fresh insights which will help you to navigate more truly according to what is real rather than what you are feeling or thinking is real. So let's go through the reframe process. The R in reframe is to recognize. So it's to acknowledge and observe and explore your thoughts and your feelings without judgment. In other words, what am I thinking and what am I feeling about the situation or the people involved? And ideally, you want to quickly write this down, whether it's in a journal or just on the back of an envelope, piece of paper on your desk. Just quickly write this down. What am I thinking? What am I feeling about the situation I'm about to step into, or whatever, or what's just happened? And do it without any judgment. It's just capture the thoughts, capture the feelings. Once you've done that, you want to examine your assumptions and your expectations. Reflect on your assumptions and expectations influencing your perspective. So what are you assuming? What are you expecting? What expectations am I making about the situation or the people involved? What are those expectations? Okay. Remember, this is what you're bringing to the table. If you're expecting all kinds of hell to be showered down on you, how are you going to show up at that meeting? So you want to understand, what are your expectations? What are your assumptions? Now, the F is for focus on the facts. So what you're going to do here is you're going to shift your attention to the objective reality of the situation. What are the facts here? What are the facts? And we're just talking about the objective facts. So there's no subjectivity here. There's no, well, I think that they should. No, that's subjective. Okay? Just what are the facts? The facts are, there's a report on the table. The facts are, the numbers are saying that we are $50,000 behind. Those are the facts. Right? Now, once you've done that, you're going to reframe. You're going to reframe, which is to challenge and to shift your perspective to seek an alternative way to view the situation. In other words, what's a more balanced and constructive way to view the situation? What am I not seeing here? What else could this mean? What's another way to look at this thing? Or what's right about this that I'm just not seeing? I'm just not getting it. Okay? And again, you're sitting here and you're writing all this stuff out in your journal on a piece of paper, and you're forcing yourself to come up with a view that you haven't seen before. This is the reframe. Now, once you've done that, now you move into assess, where you evaluate the impact of the reframe perspective on your understanding. In other words, how do I feel now with this different viewpoint? Does it more closely align with the objective reality of the situation? How has my attitude shifted about the situation? Okay? And then the M is for moving forward. So this is how we're now going to move forward. We're going to determine the necessary actions or changes that are required based on your new perspective. What are the practical actions or changes that I can make based on my new understanding, my new perspective, that will move me forward towards my intention? If my intention is to have a day of ease and flow, and all of a sudden this, the stuff has shown up, okay? Now that I've gone through the reframe process, what changes can I make based on now my new understanding? And then lastly, and this is to reinforce the learnings that you really step into almost a new reality. What you're doing is you're saying, okay, embrace the opportunity to grow and to adapt your thoughts and feelings. So what's the lesson here for me in my personal development and positive change? What's the lesson here? What's the for me? So before I was in a victim mindset and everything was happening to me. Now I get that this was happening for me. And so now I understand. I'm understanding a very different paradigm. I'm seeing this from a very different viewpoint. And this is the lesson here. This is the key to the exercise. So that describes the reframe process. The key here is to put yourself through the process. To sit down with a notepad, whether it be digital or analog, and write out the reframe process. Someone asked me why. Why can't I just do it in my head? Well, you can actually do it in your head, and I now have done it enough times that I can do it in my head. Here's the thing. A thought is just a vibration. It's just a sound. It's just a wave in your mind. That's all it is. It's a vibration. Once you actually give that thought a voice, so you actually sound it out loud or you write it down, you bring the thought from just a vibration inside your mind to, you bring it into reality. So as an example, you've got this thought, I want a brand new architectural designed home in the country. And you've got this idea of what it should look like. And then you speak to an architect and he takes your thoughts and ideas out from what you've expressed out of your mouth, and he designs the building, which then goes to blueprint and then goes into building works and then becomes a reality. But the start was to take your thoughts, to take the vibration of your thoughts and give them a voice. Write them down. That's why it's so important to write down or give voice to this process. So if you don't like writing, fine. Just record your voice. In other words, walk yourself through the process and record your voice. Give it a sound. Make it come alive. Bring it into this reality.